What is up, my dudes? And that one girl just wants to see some sibling rivalry. We got that coming for you, one girl. This is Bikes, Beards, and Brews. Let's kick that intro. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we kick this one off, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. New videos are coming weekly. Ring that bell, you know when they drop. Let's get the other stuff out of the way. Want to save 10% on our Cardinal communicator or save some money on some Beyond Riders gear? These should definitely check my referral links down below. Want to support me and all my do-gooderness like these cool guys here? Bam! These should become part of the Brew Crew and join the coffee page down below. Want to know why I'm asking you for money? Well, next to those 10,000 Amazon affiliate links that also go to a good cause is a link explaining what I do with your money. Get it, got it, cool, let's move on. Alright guys, so today we're going to keep the rivalry in-house, and we are going to do a 2025 Low Rider ST, and we are going to compare that to the 2025 Pan America ST, because these are actually similar in what they're really meant to be used for, but they are vastly different, and that's what we're going to get into today, so let's do that. Alright guys, so just right out of the gate, for those of you not aware, the ST that adorns both of these bikes' names stands for Sport Tourer. So these are basically meant to do the exact same thing. Now the biggest difference between these two bikes right out of the gate is the Low Rider ST is using the Milwaukee 8 117 high output engine, whereas the Pan America ST is using the RevMax 1250 engine. So we are comparing what is essentially still an air-cooled engine versus a full-on liquid-cooled engine, and that is going to make a difference as we go through this comparison for sure. Now, right out of the gate, the Low Rider ST comes in at $24K base MSRP. That is for the chrome engine and that primer gray that they're using. However, you can choose a chrome or black finish on this bike, and then you have 5 different color options to choose from, and there are some pretty good paint jobs that you can pick on this bike. We've definitely dove into that a few times over the last month or so. Go back, check out those videos, or go to the Harley site, see them yourself. There's a lot of great colors that you could choose from. Now, with that being said, the Pan America ST has 3 different color options. You only get a blacked out engine. You cannot choose chrome. I'm totally okay with that. It normally comes in at $20,000 base MSRP. However, for the interest of this comparison, I am going to be adding these sport touring bags to this bike, which are just a little over $800. So we're going to round this bike up to $21K base MSRP to leave the floor with. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because we are comparing these as sport touring models. And honestly, if I'm doing any sort of touring, I'm going to have some sort of bags. I honestly think it was kind of an odd choice for Harley not to include any sort of bags with the Pan America ST. So we're just going to slap those on the side. Those are going to be our bags. There's actually a few different options you can choose from for this when you're doing the Pan America. So obviously you can go no bags whatsoever. The sport bags, which are much closer to what the Low Rider ST is using with some perks, and we'll get into that in a little bit. And then you can actually do a full sport baggage like option, which is going to be those side bags and then a tail bag. Or you can go with the full-blown big road cases and, like, you know, the top case and all that stuff if you really want to go for a long trip with this thing. Honestly, the Pan America is very diverse in this department. It has a lot of plugins for you to, like, take this thing off-road, go on long trips, a lot of stuff that the Low Rider ST is not going to be able to compete with. As I said, we're just going to stick with the sport bags for the time being. So yes, right out of the gate, we are comparing a $24,000 bike to a $21,000 bike, base MSRP. Now let's get to everyone's favorite numbers right out of the gate. The Low Rider ST comes in at 114 horsepower and 128 foot-pounds of torque off the floor. That is pretty impressive, at least, you know, in Harley standards. Keep in mind, I've seen your comments where you're like, oh, get this, like, you know, super-duper sport bike from wherever, and it's got 180 horsepower. I get it. Sport bike, Low Rider ST, even when you're looking at like some of the BMWs and all that stuff, it's Harley. We're grading on a curve. Relax. Now on the other side of the spectrum, we have the Pan America ST, which is coming in at 149 horsepower and 91 foot-pounds of torque. So it doesn't have as much torque, but the horsepower is crazy on this, especially compared to the Low Rider ST. It is going to blow the wheels off a Low Rider ST if you're going light to light. Let's just be honest about that. Now, some of you might be trying to get all math whiz or whatever right now and going, well, it's a quarter mile and that Low Rider ST has way more torque, so it's going to be able to speed up quicker and blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the other thing you got to consider. The Low Rider ST is also 712 pounds curb weight. So that's a pretty porky bike to begin with, especially when you're comparing it to the Pan America ST, which comes in at 542 pounds curb weight. But we did add those sport bags, and I'm going to add that weight to it, and that brings us up to a heaving 564 pounds, but still about 200 pounds lighter than that Low Rider ST. So yes, less torque, but it's still going to smoke that Low Rider ST from light to light, or if you just want to straight race these bikes, let's be honest. Now, with that being said, these bikes also do have some similarities. They have front inverted suspension, they're running monoshocks on the back, they have full LEDs all around, they have 3 ride modes each, so they can do rain, sport, and just regular riding. But it's the differences that we want to talk about, because if you're going in to buy a bike, you want to know which one you should really go for and which one is going to fit you better. Now, when it comes to fit, we should probably address the elephant in the room as well, and that is the seat height. Because some of you shorties out there, you short kings, you're probably not going to be able to get the Pan Am. So this video is null and void for you right out of the gate. The Low Rider ST has a seat height of 28 inches, whereas the Pan America ST has a seat height of 31 to 33 inches. Now, how am I getting 31 to 33? Seems a little odd. That's because the Pan America actually has a little setting for its seat where you can raise it up and you can lower it. It's a manual thing. You pop off the seat and there's a couple little brackets in there. You line it up. So if you want a little taller or you want a little shorter, you can do that. But the shortest is 31 inches. For you tall boys out there, this actually might be something you would be more interested in. If you don't want to be so low to the ground, you can actually raise that seat up a couple inches and stretch out your legs a little bit more while you're riding. Now, speaking of seats, the Low Rider ST has that single seat on it right off of the floor. So if you want to bring somebody else with you, if you're looking to have a backpack, then you are going to have to buy a different seat or a passenger pillion, and you're going to have to get the passenger foot pegs. This bike is not set up to have a passenger, whereas the Pan America ST comes as a 2-up bike right off of the floor. So if you want to show up with your passenger, you can just hop on right away. Simple as that. Now, when it comes to riding away, the Low Rider ST comes with a 5-gallon gas tank, which is fully respectable. Most bikes around this size, you're talking between a 3.5 to 5-gallon tank. So this is definitely on the bigger side, and that is fantastic. However, the Pan America ST comes in with a 5.6 gallon tank. So you're getting a little over an extra half gallon of gas, and you're getting that extra distance, so you can go a little bit further on your ride. So overall, it's not a huge difference between these two, but you're still going to see it when you're on the road if you're riding these two. The Low Rider ST is going to need to pull over way sooner than that Pan America ST will. Next up, the Low Rider ST is now using an analog gauge, and this is new for 2025. Before that, they had that stupid little 80s calculator thing that was in the handlebar clamp that I absolutely hated. I know some people did like that. I hated it. They went to an actual round analog gauge, the same one that they were using on the Low Rider S. They just kind of moved it over. So it is an improvement, but if I'm going on longer trips, I would like my maps in front of me and anything like that. And that's where the Pan America ST excels, because it has a 6.8 infotainment screen where you can actually pop that stuff on there. You don't want to do any of that, you don't want to do that technology, then you just set it to gauges and you forget all about it. It is gauges. But I do like having that option, and I am not a fan of having my phone on my handlebars. I like to keep that in a glove box, my pocket, my saddlebag, something like that, not on my handlebars. So To me, this is something that I would like to see the Low Rider ST improve on next year. Like maybe even get that 4-inch TFT that they're using on the Nightsters and Sportsters. I'd be fine with that. I get that throwing a 6.8 rectangular sort of gauge on the Low Rider ST would kill the lines. But, you know, that little Sportster TFT, that would be fine. Let's do that, Harley. Let's make that one happen. Next up, and this is one of those things that's been kind of contentious for me for a little while, the Pan America ST is using Brembo branded brakes on its bike. Seriously, say that 3 times fast. It is a disaster. Nonetheless, it has the Brembo branded brakes on there, and they look good. However, the Low Rider ST is still using the off-brand version. And, you know, some of you may sound off and say, well, they're still Brembos, they're just not branded. That's fine, and I've said it before, you know, they're still coming out of the same factory, but they may not be, like, up to quality, who knows. Nonetheless, it's like going to a store and buying, like, you know, Private Krispies instead of Captain Crunch. I just want my damn Captain Crunch. Put the Captain Crunch on the bike. And we know you can get the Captain Crunch because it's on the Pan America ST. So Harley, just make it happen. Put Captain Crunch on all of your bikes already. I kind of want some cereal now. Some of that nice fiberglass Captain Crunch that just tears up your mouth for no reason. Whatever. Next up is the lean angle. So the Low Rider ST has a 31-degree lean angle left and right, whereas the Pan America ST has a 37-degree lean angle left and right. So that means when you're going through those twisties, you can really get into those with the Pan America. However, the 31-degree is fully respectable, and we've done a few verses here where we've talked about the Low Rider ST going against other bikes, and it has had a better lean angle than those bikes. So you're not really missing out here, and let's be honest, the Low Rider ST isn't something that you're going to be running around trying to drag knees with, so this is perfectly acceptable. But if you really want to get into those curves, if you really want to tear up the tail of the dragon or something like that, the Pan America ST is going to probably be the bike you want to go for. Now, when it comes to touring, these two bikes are quite different on their front end, and honestly, without taking them both out for a long trip and really comparing it, I honestly could not tell you which one is going to be better here. But the Pan America has an adjustable windshield. Now, it's not a powered windshield, and honestly, I like that because that is one less electronic that can break on my bike. It just has a little handle that toggles up and down, and you can raise that windshield a few inches. You can lower it back down. They have aftermarket ones that are much taller if you want even more wind protection. Like, I really dig this. However, the Pan America does not have a large fairing in any way, shape, or form, so I'm not quite sure exactly how much wind protection you're going to be getting on the highways when you're going on long trips. I imagine not as much as you are hoping for if you're getting on highways and you're going for long trips, or if you're getting caught in the rain or something like that. So, like, that is a little bit of a detriment for the Pan America ST. However, the Low Rider ST has a larger fairing, but it doesn't have that adjustable windshield. So, however you set that windshield, it is there. Set it and forget it. You can get a taller windshield, but that is going to be your windshield. So, you know, if you want a little bit more airflow, if you want to change it all, it's not happening. However, you do get that larger fairing, and that is going to protect you a little bit more. One of the other advantages that the Low Rider ST has, depending on how you like to ride and how you want to have your ride, that fairing offers a drop-in 210-watt speaker system that comes for about $1,100. You can control it Bluetooth from your phone. So if you like to listen to your music and you want to make sure that everyone in a 2-block radius is also listening to your music, the Low Rider ST is able to do that for you. Whereas the Pan America ST does not have a speaker option, at least not from Harley. I'm sure you can get a third-party option and bolt that on somewhere. but it's also going to stick out a bit, whereas this soundbar is designed to just drop right into the Low Rider ST. So that's another thing to consider. If you like listening to everything in your helmet, then the Pan America ST is going to be great for you, because like you'll have that TFT screen, you can control your phone, so on and so forth. Whereas the Low Rider ST, like I said, make sure everyone knows that you're listening to Bon Jovi. Now let's get back to those saddlebags. So the Low Rider ST has clamshell hard saddlebags, combined for 14 gallons of storage. Now those sport bags that we put on the Pan America ST have a combined storage of 17 gallons. So they actually have 3 gallons more of storage. They are also clamshell, so we're basically on the same like page here. However, I feel like the Pan America ST bags just totally win this one. And this is why. Those bags that are on the Low Rider ST, they are there. They are staying there. They are not meant to come off. They are not meant to go into the hotel room with you. They are meant to be on the bike. Now, I'm gonna just skip over the fact I don't like clamshells altogether, and I'd probably get those like top boxes and tour boxes that a Pan America has. But the sport bags don't need extra parts put on the Pan America. These are designed to be quick release. So these just drop onto the Pan America as is, right from the floor, no extra stuff to buy except for the saddlebags. And then when you want to remove them, they lift off and they have carrying handles. These are basically just glorified suitcases. So I think these are absolutely fantastic, especially if you're going touring, because when you get to your destination, you just take these off, you bring them into the hotel with you, you set them on the bed, the bureau, the dresser, whatever, you pop them open because they're clamshells and all your stuff's right there. It's fantastic. I love this whole concept, and I mean, I don't love the design of the bags. I wish they looked a little bit better, but the functionality on these are absolutely fantastic. All right, so if I was walking into a Harley dealership today and I had to pick one of these bikes today and drive away with it, maybe somebody was buying it for me, which would I pick? I feel like this is a no-brainer. I would go straight for that Pan America ST. It is $3,000 cheaper. Even after I put those sport bags on it, it is way more versatile. I can do much more with this bike. Even the other options Harley has with this, I can swap the tires, and now this is like an off-roading bike. Like I said, I could put those big cases on there and I can start going for larger tours. I have like engine guards, all kinds of lights, like skid plates. I can make this bike really whatever I want when it comes to riding. That combined with the extra half gallon of gas and the extra like 35 horsepower that's on this bike from the floor, like this thing, it's a no-brainer. I love this bike. I feel like Harley just knocked it out of the park with this. I'd love to see a soundbar on this, but I'm pretty sure, as I said, I could throw some Bluetooth speakers on here and I'm good to go if I really want to be that guy. But again, the Low Rider ST is no slouch, and this is a great looking bike with a lot of great options on it. So, I mean, I wouldn't rule this one out either. This is, if I had to pick one or the other, this is the way I'm going. Anyway, that's my picks. What is your pick if you had to choose between these two? Because I've also seen the comments where you're like, oh, I'd buy this other bike that, you know, we're clearly not talking about at all, but I need to have some sort of validation in the comments. Good for you, guy. Good for you. If you had to pick between these two bikes, which would you pick and why? Or do you have one of these bikes? And if so, what are you finding for the pros and cons on it? And do you wish you picked the other one instead? Sound off. Let me know. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, share this video with friends, share it with family, share it with that one dude you know who's like, I like sporting and I like touring. What kind of bike should I get? Show him this video. He loves this stuff. And I'll see you all on the flip side.